Let's look a bit further ahead. You're obviously hoping for the big autumn. I nearly said fall. I'm so used to interviewing Americans recently, but the big autumn showdown with Daniel Dubois and Joyce. But Dubois got to come through Eric Pfeiffer first, which to me on paper seems like a tougher test than Joyce against Michael Vallish. Is it fair to say it's a bit of a sterner challenge for Dubois?
I think it is. I think you're right, Daniel. I mean, it is. He's got tremendous experience as an amateur. He's durable. He's beat the guys that beat the guys. He beat Yoka, the Olympic gold medalist, twice in the amateur tournament. And we all know that I thought Joe beat Yoka, by the way, and was unlucky to not get the gold. But the fact of the matter, he's beaten those guys. So this is going to be a stern test for him.
How worried are you, or concerned might be a better word, that Pfeiffer does upset the party? I mean, you haven't brought him over to do that, obviously, but he is a good fighter and he's coming with ambition.
Look, anything can happen. Up to now, I've been like this all the time. I'm looking like Ben Turpin, crossing everything to make sure that, they come through. Having said that, look, until it's over, it's over. Who knows, with these guys, best laid plans of in the past have gone up in the air, and I hope that's not going to be the case. I've got faith and confidence in Daniel, and Daniel's an exceptional talent on the heavyweight scene, and he sees that he's not fazed by it at all. So, his confidence gives me confidence.
You mentioned earlier about Mick Conlan and Carl Frampton being added to shows in the near future. Mick Conlan I spoke to yesterday, planning to drop down to super bantamweight after this fight. Could find that his next fight is for a world title against the winner of Saturday night's vacant title fight.
It could very well be, and we'll see, won't we? We'll see on that. They're both fighting on the 15th, and they've been inactive, and they need to get back into the swing. So they're hopefully going to set up their big fights for the fall or the autumn.
What's the plan for Carl Frampton? Is that Jamel Herring fight still waiting there for him, or does it need to be looked at again?
That's the one. They both want it, and that's the fight. Absolutely. That's the fight that we all want to see. That's what we were going to put that on, weren't we, before the lockdown? It was all ready to go. So we want to make sure that happens for Carl.
How hard is it for you to plan outings for your fighters, either here versus international opponents, or internationally, them travelling, because travel restrictions are still in place in some areas?
Well, it's very difficult, Dan, because it's a moving target. I mean, we could have had, say, one of our guys could have fought in Spain last week and come straight back. Now they got a lockdown for 14 days. Anything can happen. I mean, there's no doubt about it. There's been a surge of the virus in a lot of countries. It's gone up a bit over the last week or so here in the UK, but in a lot of countries it's gone up. So, that for the safety of everybody, that they will bring in these lockdown measures. And if they do that, that's going to affect everyone in sport who work on the international stage. That will be a problem. That was one of our things about making sure that when we started doing this, that we did do it in a controlled environment, because we got them there. They're in and it's not some big vast space. It is what it is. It's a studio and hotel next door.
What a lot of people are going to want to know, and this links into the travel restrictions issue, is Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, and how likely that is to still happen this year. Last we heard, we were looking at the week before Christmas.
That's still the case. I think I'm speaking, with Bob Arum. I think we're speaking this evening or tomorrow. And obviously that'll be up for discussion. I was on the phone with Tyson for quite a while, day before yesterday. He wants to fight. I'm sure as Deontay Wilder and all these guys do. They're all sitting around twiddling their thumbs at that, trying to, keep focus and keep fit and well. He wants to fight, but obviously a fight of that magnitude, it does need to generate a live gate or a big site fee to take it there.
Do you have any concerns about Tyson? Because in the past, having a long period of inactivity hasn't always agreed with him. The devil makes work for idle hands, that old saying.
I haven't. I think Tyson has changed dramatically since his comeback. I think he's a totally different person. He's always been I think he's always had his heart on his sleeve. I think he's always been somebody who's quite, how can I put it? He has had his problems, but I think a lot of those problems were from outside the ring, nothing to do with what happened in the ring itself. Previous the promoters and so forth he's involved with. But he's in a good place at the moment. He's been great, him and his family. Paris and them, you've been seeing them doing their workouts. It was good fun to watch, and he's been keeping himself active and busy. He looks like he could fight tomorrow. He's very engaged with his training, and I think mentally he gets it. It's funny, when we were talking the other day, we was talking about what professional boxers, how you can't afford to pile on the weight. Fights which he'd done in the past, and I can think of a lot of good fighters who've done that. Where you sort of take for granted your natural ability, but it's not just about talent; it's also about discipline. And I think he gets that more. He's a very astute guy. He gets that and understands that, and that's where he's at now. So he hasn't had idle hands. He's been very, very, very busy and keeping himself occupied. And I think that's going to translate into a great performance when he comes back.
Before we move on from Tyson, I want to ask you about some comments Anthony Joshua made either earlier this week or last week, where he said he doesn't feel Fury's been in deep waters consistently enough to rival his resume, that Fury maybe has really good wins but then tends to disappear afterwards, whereas he's consistently fought the best. What do you make of that?
Well, deep waters. I can't think of any deeper waters he could have been by getting hit going on the floor twice against the biggest punching heavyweight in the last 30 years, and certainly in that last round when myself, and I'm his biggest believer and fan, I thought he was gone. That weren't deep waters. He was at the bottom of the ocean. I mean, he was there. He was in that trench, the bottom of the ocean. He got out of it. That's it. You got it. He came out of that. Got up, and not only got up, come back and won the round. And then the only comparison I can make with that is probably with AJ and Ruiz in New York. He went over and it was all over. That's getting back. And as for the rest of his career, you can't compare about saying that he's not been in that enough trouble to come back and so forth. Other than that fight, I can't think of troubles he has been in over his career. But there is a reason for that, because he's such a good fighter and such a good boxer, and that's what he is. AJ, if I was AJ now looking at Tyson Fury, I'd be thinking to myself, you know what? Do I punch harder? Am I a bigger puncher than Deontay Wilder, who could not nail him to the canvas? Am I a bigger puncher than him? Am I a better boxer than Tyson Fury? Have I got a better jab than Tyson Fury? And more importantly, have I got a better chin? Because we know Tyson can punch. You see what he did in his last fight. Stopped a guy that had never been defeated, done an absolute job. What was he, world champion for 6 or 7 years?
Yeah.
And I don't want to keep comparing. I think him and AJ is going to be a much better fight than probably we all give it credit for, because there's going to be so much on the line, so much passion there between the two of them. Neither of them are going to want to lose. They're going to give it all. So I think we're going to get a great fight out of it. But I honestly do believe that Tyson will have his number.
And to end on a positive note, you've recently seen contract renewals, long-term contract extensions for Liam Williams and Jack Catterall. How happy are you with that development? And also, when are they going to get their long-awaited world title shots?
Look, I'm really happy with that. Andrade has been ordered. Well, we've had purse negotiations delayed twice because of the virus for Liam's fight, and the same with Jack. They were supposed to be that unification fight, and the winner was ordered to fight against Jack. It's all up in the air, but I'm pleased. They're in a good position. They're both the mandatory challengers for the respective titles, so their position is safe. In the meantime, we've got to hope that this ends quickly, or something changes, that we can get these fights on. And if not, I'm sure they're going to be wanting to fight in the meantime.
Do you feel now that after a period of rebuilding, if you like, at Queensbury with BT behind you, you've now got a really deep talent pool? So you've got the world champions, you've got the rising contenders, and you've got the hot prospects as well. It's kind of a complete entity now.
Well, I mentioned that, look, we've always delivered them. We've always found fighters. I mean, you and I was, I was very, at the time, very keen to sign him, and I was moving heaven and earth to him. But it didn't happen with Anthony Joshua. But he came in having won a gold medal in the Olympic Games, so it wasn't a hard sell to the public at all. When we signed Daniel Dubois, he could have walked down the street. The fact he's a big guy, they would have turned and looked at him, but no one knew who he was. We've done a great job with him, and he's leading young heavyweight out there. Anthony Yard, 11 fights. No one knew he was, and suddenly he's the guy. With Buatsi, he's had again an Olympian, a vast amateur experience, and we've done a good job with our guys who didn't come from that pedigree or that background. So we're good at what we do. We know we can build fighters. And we've got fighters coming through like young Dennis McCann, Hamza Shiraz. You've got Henry Turner who fought. I'm talking about guys who fought in recent weeks.
David Adelaide.
And I can reel off probably. I can reel off with Ryan Garner's. All these guys go. So we got some really exciting young talent who, by the way, can fight. And they are going to be future world champions. So yeah, we spent a lot of time with Box Nation, working that. We know what it's like for a subscription channel, had the difficulties that there are. So that it is what it is. And with us, we got a great partner in BT. They're not just a broadcaster. That YouTube business they've built and the exposure we get on that is fantastic. As I mentioned with David Adelaide, the amount of people who watched him. So we're in a good place with good fighters, and we're working on signing things which are going to add to it, which I hope in the next month or so we can be in a position to announce. And it's exciting times for us. We're always innovative. We're always out there, finding ways to make things happen, as we did to get boxing back a couple of weeks ago, in this epidemic. And I just feel that times, as much as they're bad times, these are great times as well for us, as far as the talent pool that we've got. No one's got the talent pool that we've got, not just in Britain, in world boxing. We've got a massive talent pool here. We've got some great fighters. I'm not disrespectful to, leaving names like Mark Chamberlain the other week had a fantastic win as well. You're looking at all these guys, Denzel, lots and lots of them. They're all good quality operators. They're all gonna go places. I can see that. And some of them are going to become world champions, and they'll reign a long while. So I'm absolutely delighted where we're at.